Hey Marvel fans, Ryan Penagos, aka Agent M here. I'm going to give you a little bit of a behind the scenes chat and a look at Spider-Man Far From Home, but I'm not doing that alone. I've got 3D Stereoscopic Supervisor Evan Jacobs here. So you're the guy who helps us get Spider-Man to thwip off the screen.
That's exactly right.
I like that, that's pretty cool.
A lot of people, a lot of our fans, let's say, go see the movie more than once. And so this is like a way to go, you saw it in 2D that first night, but you go back the second night or the third night or whatever and you see it in 3D and you go, oh my God, it's like seeing a new movie.
One of the things I want to dig into is like just the biology of it all. How does that affect the work that you and your team do?
Well, if you think about it, we experience the world in 3D all the time, right? With our two eyes taking the world in, and our brain is taking those two separate images and fusing them and giving you what we call depth perception. When you go to the movies, for many years, it's been flat, which in a weird way is what people have come to think is normal. 3D in the cinema, though, is a little bit different than 3D in real life in that it's actually a magic trick of sorts, but we're gonna trick your brain into thinking that things are have dimension and depth. But at the end of the day, you put those glasses on and hopefully it feels like Spider-Man's right there with you.
You know, in the trailer for Spider-Man Far From Home, we saw this like water creature, we saw the big fire monster sort of destroying the bridge and like all these things that Spider-Man is up against. Of all the fun elements in play in Spider-Man Far From Home, I would imagine the most is Spider-Man himself, because he's Spider-Man. He's the greatest superhero of all time.
Well, what's cool about him is he does a lot more flying around in this movie, so there's a lot of fun opportunities. Anytime we can get him airborne and off, you know, or shooting webs or whatever, there's a lot of, those are always great because he can bring the audience on the ride with him.
I want to talk a little bit about rotoscoping.
Yeah, because so much fun.
What is rotoscoping in terms of the stereoscopic experience that you're working on?
The basic idea is tracing photographed images, right? If you think about what 3D is in the context of a movie, you sort of start with this flat image that would be sitting right on the screen, and then you want some of the things to be identified as distant backgrounds, some in the midground, some in the foreground. And to do that with a flat 2D image that you photographed, you gotta trace the whole thing. So you trace every single thing in the frame that you wanna have on a different layer.
Yeah.
That's how you separate these people, right? That's the first step of this process, and that's what we call rotoscoping. There's a procedural process that would maybe take the edges and stretch them out, but that doesn't look very good. So pretty quickly, you've got to go in and hand paint all that stuff.
So you're rotoscoping the entire film?
Every single frame.
Yeah. I'm trying to process like the amount of people that you need, the manpower, the time, the attention to detail, because it's not a, you know, the way you describe it, it doesn't seem like something just someone like puts their headphones on and blindly does it.
No, it is. It's a crazy process, but it's, you know, one of the things that's really fun about it is when you get a filmmaker in at the end of the thing and you've done a sequence and you've taken their film and presenting it back to them in a completely new way, and then they react, you know, as if they've never seen the movie.
That's so cool,
Which
though.
is the craziest thing.
Yeah,
it's really fun. One of the things that I think is, you know, differentiates the Marvel films from some of the other films that are out there in the marketplace that are released in 3D is that we're really involved all the way through.
I heard a term as we were starting to put this together, something called a depth script.
Yeah.
What is the depth script and how does that play into this whole process?
If you think about it, 3D can be just like a musical score or just about any other part of a film in that you essentially have a depth script, and you sort of can be like, I can make it very deep in this section because it's going to be a very exciting 3D moment, and then I can give the audience a break and, you know, come down a little bit, and then I go back up again for something else. And that kind of ebb and flow of the process is a creative control that we have so that people experience it. So if you think about it, just in the musical context, if you just kept it loud all the time, you wouldn't really know that it was loud.
Right.
You know, you're not always doing the cool 3D just to do it.
Yeah.
You're doing it if it affects if it helps the movie.
Yeah. Evan, I'm super excited to see this movie. You have completely sold me here on this whole conversation, but for our fans who, you know, have seen it once, maybe haven't seen it in 3D yet, why do they have to see it in 3D?
It's a completely different experience than 2D. So the elementals are incredible. There's some other stuff I can't talk about. That's amazing.
What?
And really, really fun and disorienting and cool and exciting, and it's gonna we're gonna take them on a ride. So it's definitely, I'm very proud of this movie, and I'm proud of the work that we did. There's some of the films that we work on really lend themselves to the format, and this is one of those films. Without avoiding spoilers, I can't tell you much about it, but you gotta go see it.
I'm telling you, the cameras are off. You can tell me everything.
All right.
Okay. There you have it, everybody. Evan, thank you so much. I am a full convert into the 3D experience. I need it. I want it. I hope you guys want it too. Spider-Man Far From Home is in theaters now. Be sure to see it in 3D.